What's up, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. What's happening? What's up? Got the water, hey. If you are a first-time viewer, I hope it's not your last. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you stick with us and that you enjoy this video. If you are a new subby, what's up, y'all? Like, I'm so glad that you're here and that you love me enough to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification button. If you don't have your notification button on, please turn it on. Okay, so in this video, we're gonna be talking about depression, brokenness, low self-esteem, loneliness, self-medicating, all that. And I feel like it's important for us to discuss it because within the Black community, you know, it's something that isn't discussed. And I believe that it is becoming more of a thing now where we're addressing mental health and mental illness as a thing now, rather than just sweeping it under the rug or dismissing our, you know, our emotions and our feelings. So I just feel like it's important for us to discuss it and talk about it. It's been on my heart. So yeah, I'm also going to share my own journey with it because so many of you guys have shared your journeys with me and your stories with me. I definitely have had to pray about this video and really just ask God to allow me to be a vessel so that whatever message He is needing you to hear, see, or understand, that I in some way, shape, or form can bring that to you. So I'm just allowing God to work through me and talk to me because this is a very, very tough topic and a conversation that we really don't have enough. Everything that I'm saying in this video is completely based off of my experience, what I have observed, and all the good stuff. I am not a doctor. I am not a psychiatrist. I am not any of that. I am just a human being that is going through life, trying to figure things out. I'm eager yet nervous, so let's get into it. I'm going to basically answer some of the questions that were sent to me and just some general questions about these subjects that I brought up. I'm also going to share my journey and my testimony. Then I'm going to offer some tips that, you know, have helped me with my situations that I've gone through, that I've seen help other people who've gone through the same thing. I hope, again, that in some way, shape, or form, this helps you on your journey if you are ever dealing with any of these subjects or topics that I've just brought up. One of the questions that I think that is super, uber duper important for us to start with is, what is depression? In my opinion, there isn't a concrete definition of what depression is for people because everyone goes through their own forms of depression. Something else that may cause someone to be depressed may not cause you to be depressed, and something that may cause you to be depressed may not cause someone else to be depressed, you know. So I think it just depends on that said person in that situation. Okay, how do you determine whether or not you are actually depressed or if you're just in a funk? You know, funk, you know, may happen just, you know, every now and then. You know, for women, we be in our funks once a month, you know, because of Auntie Red, right? But once you start noticing that you're in the same funk constantly over and over, there's no sense of healing. There's no release of it and all the other stuff. And you're constantly watching yourself withdraw from people, withdraw from your friends, questioning yourself, losing faith, losing hope, becoming less grounded. That's when you start teeter-tottering into depression. And different things can cause depression. Some people go straight into it because of events that have happened to them. And some people, you know, it's a buildup of things that causes them to withdraw. Okay. One of the questions that I got was, I wanted to ask, what do you think about certain individuals who say those who are mentally ill just lack faith and just need to pray it off? My answer to that question is that when people just write off or dismiss other people's emotions, it is because other people have done that to them. And I also feel like it's just a lack of understanding and a lack of education. If you know, dive into like reading articles about depression or, you know, asking people what they go through, you'll know that it is a constant battle. It's not something that you can just pray off because it didn't just come upon you, you know, like that. Like it wasn't just something that just happened and it can just go away. Like it's not magic, because at the end of the day, I don't care who you are. You do not get to dismiss anybody's emotions. What'll happen is we go through things, right? And then we'll confide in people or in adults, and they'll tell us, you be alright. My favorite one. There are other people in this world who are going through so many things worse than you. That last statement is very much so true. There's always going to be someone who is going through something way worse than you are. That does not mean that you get to dismiss your emotions and not deal with your issues. That is not what that means. So do not allow anybody to ever tell you that what you are feeling is not substantial, is not real, because it's real. What happens is people don't deal with their emotions, and then it just piles and piles, layers up and all this other stuff, and then 20 years from now they 40 years old trying to figure out what's wrong with them. It's better for you to start recognizing, you know, your brokenness now and your triggers now and your issues now, and dealing with it and healing it, so that you don't have to be trying to heal something that's going to be 20, 30 years old when you're 40 or 50. It's like having an infection or like having a wound. If you just slap a band-aid on it, but you don't actually heal the wound, it just what? It gets more infected. It gets worse and it spreads. It spreads to the rest of your body, and then you got to get stuff amputated. So my apologies if I don't want to have to get anything amputated while I'm 45 years old. You know, I want to deal with it now. So yeah, that's my answer to that. No shade, no tea. Different people deal with their issues in the way they want to deal with them. But for me, no. I would rather heal my brokenness now than heal it later, because I can pass on my brokenness to my loved ones, to my kids, to my spouse. And it's just, it'll just get me farther and farther and farther away, you know, from where I'm supposed to be with myself and where I'm supposed to be with God. No. I put up a poll and I asked whether or not people thought that self-medicating could be another form of self-harming. 80% basically said yes, and 20% was like, nah, not necessarily, you know. I totally agree that it depends on the situation. So one of my followers asked me, what is your opinion on smoking weed? For clarification, I am not in any way telling anyone how to live their life, nor am I shaming or judging anyone. The Bible says, he without sin shall cast the first stone, and I myself drink occasionally. What I am asking us all to do is to be mindful of our consumption, how much we intake, how often, and why, especially if you recognize an increase in your consumption as a way to deal with your brokenness. I pray you all listen with an open heart and mind to receive my thoughts with love, and know my intentions are not to harm or hurt, but to help. God bless. And my opinion about smoking weed and drinking are basically all the same. I'm gonna read you what I said to her. I feel like if you're doing it socially, like to get a little lit, cool. But I've seen a lot of people in my life become dependent on it and use it to self-medicate, and it has led them to feel like they cannot function properly without it, which is when I feel people tread dangerous waters. With that and with drinking, I don't believe weed or alcohol is bad, but it can be used for improper it can be used in improper ways, which can lead to life-threatening consequences. And that's basically, to sum up my answer. I had conversations and dialogue with people in my DMs about, their experiences with self-medicating, and how it was basically a temporary fix. And, a lot of people, they don't want to deal with their issues. They don't want to deal with it right now. They don't want to deal with it in that moment. And weed, drinking, drugs, and anything else, it's a perfect release for that, because you don't have to feel anything. You don't have to deal with your problems. Like, another one of my followers we talked about, she was like, oh, I was just talking to my friends about this, because a lot of people, are so focused on, oh, I'm just living my best life, that they don't even realize that they're drinking themselves into our early grave. And that is essentially what is happening when you take it to that next level of, oh, I'm drinking every day. Oh, I'm drinking by myself. Oh, now I need this to function. Now I have told myself that I legit have become dependent on this, and I cannot go to class without it. I can't write this paper without it. I can't go work out without it. I can't deal with these teachers without it. I can't go to work without it. At that point, I feel like you really have to ask yourself, okay, why do I now believe this? What event occurred to make me, start doing this more frequently, rather than it just being something I did socially or casually? And how can I get back to myself without this? I had another follower who basically messaged me and was like, is it really self-harming, or is it self-preservance, from them not having to cuss somebody out or do this and do that? And I was like, sis, like, I'm not knocking that either. This world is a whole nother beast. And, different people have to cope in different ways. The reason I even say that is because I found myself doing the same thing too. I'm going to do something that does not allow me to deal with it. And that's fine. But I had to bring myself back and ground myself in God and something else that had better healing power, because all that stuff is not healing you. If anything, it's going to lead you to an early grave, because now you're harming your body And you know it, because you know it's not good for us to smoke. It messes up our lungs. Not good for us to drink. It messes up our liver and our kidney. And so you don't want to be 30 needing a liver transplant or needing a kidney transplant. Like, there are just consequences to these actions. So it's better for us to start trying to actually heal rather than just, you know, slapping band-aids on stuff. That's how I feel about it. I'm not knocking anybody because they do it. Live your best life. Deal with your issues in the way you want to deal with it. But that's just my personal opinion. That's just some of the questions that I had. Like I said, I had some other wonderful conversations about being clinically diagnosed as being depressed, and how, you know, even when you are prescribed medicine and all this other stuff, how you can become dependent on that, and how it brings you, you know, temporary satisfaction, but you have to ease yourself off of it because now you're kind of dependent on it, and then that can lead to this and that can lead to that. So just do the work now if you can. Now I'm gonna talk about my journey. I've definitely had a lot of brokenness in my life. There's probably only been one time and a half that I was actually really depressed, and it was a very difficult and dark time for me because a lot of things had led up to that to get me to that point to where I was. And it got so bad to the point to where my mom, like, she stopped me and she was like, "What is wrong with you?" And I was like, "Nothing. I don't want to talk about it." And she was just like, "I'm waiting." And so long story short, she basically thought I was pregnant. God forbid. Well, not right now, not anytime soon. And you know, then I ended up crying, having this whole conversation with her, telling her what was going on, all this other stuff. But it was basically like just a really dark period in my life because unfortunately I had basically based my happiness and my joy off of a guy. And so, you know, my ex ended up going to jail, and I didn't know how to deal with that because when I'm in high school, I'm young, whatever. And then that just propelled me to basically isolating myself because I was just sad. I was crying all the time. Didn't know how to deal with it. And then it basically led me to be able to look at myself and be like, oh, I don't like myself. I don't like this person that I am. I don't like who I've become. I don't like how people perceive me. I don't like it. I don't like having to be fake and having to put on a show for people and act like I'm happy all the time for their satisfaction. I hated it. So I basically, you know, sunk into this hole. And what was sad about that time is that I'm young, I'm in high school, and none of my friends are like understanding what I'm really going through. Like, she's just acting weird. And so I would constantly have to be like, no, like, you know, I'm just really going through something. You know, I'm just really trying to just reassure them that, you know, I was still their friend, but I'm just like really going through it. Like, oh my God, y'all, it was so bad. You know, the people who I was trying to confide in didn't understand it. So then what happens? People start talking about me. There was few people who actually did understand and let me cry on their shoulder, and then, you know, they helped me work my way back to who I wanted to be. But yeah, it was just sad because it was, again, a lack of education. I lost friends. Not because I'm a bad friend, but just because I was going through something and I could not give of myself to them the way that I would normally give. And it's hard to give of yourself when you have nothing to give. When you so empty that you can't even give to yourself, that's low. So basically, some of the cracks that created my brokenness were, I got bullied in elementary because I was super hairy. I had a unibrow and a mustache and got made fun of all the time. The first time I wore my hair curly to school, I got chased around the playground and everybody was calling me a werewolf, you know, from the Michael Jackson movie or the, you know, Michael Jackson Thriller music video. And it was just like, you know, things like that. Girls just being mean, you know, and just girls being mean, people who you call your friends who you find out are talking bad about you, all this other stuff. I had acne, and so I got teased about having acne and, you know, my scars because I never felt beautiful or pretty, and I felt like that's why guys don't like me and that's why nobody cares about me, because of my acne. And then I lost my brothers. So in the 3rd grade, my mom got pregnant and we were all excited, and then she ended up having a miscarriage. We had this big funeral for him, right? Hakeem. And then the next year, mom got pregnant again and had another miscarriage. And so after the funeral, I went back to school. So that next year, mom gets pregnant again, ends up delivering him early. So he basically lived for 2 weeks. And then he had to go into surgery because he had an infection, and they tried to get the infection out. So we stayed that night at the hospital, and I stayed up the whole night, and I ended up painting my nails black, which is important for the end of this story. My father wakes me up early that next morning, and, you know, he was like, Hunter's not going to make it. You know, you need to, you know, let's go say, you know, bye to your brother. I'm watching my mother cry, watching them discharge him. And then the first and the last time that I get to hold my baby brother, he turns cold. So I literally felt the life of my brother leave his body. And I thought that it was my fault because I painted my nails black instead of painting them white the night before. So I basically like kind of blame myself for that. And so you don't really understand how a child processes that. And that was like the first people who I've lost that were close to me, my brothers. Fast forward to like middle school, high school, I'm getting into these relationships. And the first serious relationship I'm in, whatever, the guy ends up cheating on me. And then I jump from one bad relationship to another bad relationship, and I'm dealing with that, and I'm dealing with, you know, the toxicness that goes with that, because, oh, now I'm being cheated on, now I'm being lied to, now I'm being publicly disrespected. I'm being disrespected in my relationship. It's not healthy. And then disappointing my parents, which is a whole nother story. That was like one of the biggest things that I hated, especially with my relationship, because they didn't approve of it. Transition to college. I'm still in this toxic relationship. I've now isolated myself because he told me I can't have Snapchat. You can't go out. You can't do this. You can't do that. And I'm thinking I'm doing all this in the name of love, but I'm isolating myself, not only from my friends and you know, from myself, but from God. On top of that, here comes death again. And I'm having to watch my grandfather pass away with the rest of my family, literally in the room as, you know, he crosses over a lot. Then the next week, cousin dies a lot. Then here comes, you know, me finally deciding that I'm done with this relationship, and I'm tired of being cheated on, and I'm tired of being disrespected, and I'm tired of not feeling like I'm enough because you told me that I'm not enough, and I'm tired of feeling like that I have to battle and go against other women for love, and I shouldn't have to do that, and I'm just over it. And then this traumatic experience happens that I have to do a story time about, and it's just bad, very, very, very bad, and it was just a lot and a very unhealthy way to end a relationship, but nonetheless it ended. And then in that same semester, my aunt gets sick. I'm basically starting to tread the water of self-medicating by going out and drinking and smoking, because I'm in denial that my aunt is about to pass away, but I don't want to see her like that, so I don't go to say goodbye. Even though I talked to her on FaceTime, I don't go to say goodbye because it would be too much for me. Because the summer before that, oh my God, yes, the summer before that, the summer after I lost my grandfather, my godfather, who is like a second father to me, who has sickle cell, is basically in the hospital near death. But thank God we serve a God who is bigger than our circumstance. But seeing him traumatized me again. So I'm taken back to when I'm in the hospital watching my baby brother pass away. And it's a lot, and I keep going back to that little girl, to that feeling that I had. So then to, you know, have to deal with the fact that my aunt is now now dying, on top of transitioning out of a very toxic relationship. I cannot deal with it. And then for my aunt to pass away the day before my birthday, I was done. Those are some of the cracks, and it's not all of them. It's not all of them. Gotta have a side conversation, get all of that. Those are some of the cracks that basically created my brokenness. Although there are other people who have gone through much worse things than me, because I did not deal with these issues and I just layered them on top, stuffed everything away and down, I exploded. And I didn't want to feel anymore. So yeah, some of my tips that I have for you, if you're finding yourself in these dark places in life, if you're feeling broken, is 1, address your brokenness and admit that it's there. A lot of times we do not admit that we are broken because so many people trying to dismiss our emotions. Do not dismiss your emotions. Do not dismiss how you feel. Do not dismiss anything, because if you dismiss it now, you're gonna have to deal with it later. Number 2, find a release. Find a healthy release. Let it out. Cry, run, draw, build something. Find a way to heal yourself without causing yourself more damage. Talk to somebody. Oh my goodness, talk to somebody, a close friend, a favorite teacher, an adult that you trust, a counselor. If you're in college, we legit pay for this. We pay for this. It's already worked into our tuition. And if none of those routes work, talk to God. Those moments when people don't answer the phone, they don't text you back or any of that other stuff, God is saying, I don't want to use somebody else to get to you. I want to talk to you directly. I want to have time with you directly. So spend time with him. Talk to God. Yell at him. There have been plenty of times I've been mad. I've been like, you know what, God? Since you don't want to let nobody answer the phone tonight, I'm finna talk to you. I'm finna yell at you. And I've literally been in my car crying, yelling, whatever, getting it out and talking to him and relying on him. Vocalize what you are feeling so that you can actually heal it and deal with it. Some of the things that have helped me when I'm going through my breakdowns, I sing Jesus Loves Me, This I Know. And I know how corny that sounds, but for some reason that song brings me so much reassurance. Also, another thing that I would do, I literally write out my emotions. I write out my heart. And when I write as if I'm talking to God. And I'll be like, you know, Lord, this is what I'm dealing with. Help me, God. You cannot focus so much on your outside and how you look and what you wear and how your hair is looking and, you know, your makeup and all this other stuff, and not give that same energy to being emotionally stable, to being mentally stable, to being spiritually stable. Keep that same energy when it comes to dealing with your brokenness. I pray that you enjoyed this video. I hope that it has inspired you on your walk with Christ, that it has inspired you on your journey, that you are able to identify some of your own cracks that you have maybe missed, and that it inspires you to start doing the work. Start doing the work. I'm doing my work. I'm going to be doing the work for the rest of my life, just so that I can make sure that I'm the best version of myself that I can be. So I hope that in some way, shape, or form this helped you. And I pray that God bless and keep you, and that he cover you on your journey, that he take your heart, your mind, your soul, and your spirit, and that he grant you peace and understanding in your situation, and that you know that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and that everything you need to conquer this world and to overcome your obstacle or overcome your mountain is within you. So God bless you. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for allowing me to create this space where we can have these wonderful conversations and this dialogue. And I'll see you guys in my next video.